The Lantern Keeper by Cinda Gallagher. In the city of Saraven, where the twin rivers met and twisted like silver threads, there was a tower that rose above the red-tiled roofs and marble domes. The Tower of the 100 Lanterns, they called it, though no one could say with certainty if the name was true. Most agreed it was more than 100, though fewer agreed on the man who tended them. He had no name that anyone remembered, though the children called him Old Light. He rarely spoke, his days spent polishing the bronze frames and filling the lanterns with oil, his nights spent climbing the spiral stairs to light each one. The lanterns burned golden across the city, a constellation of earthbound stars, and Saraven slept beneath their glow. One evening, a knock echoed at the base of the tower. It was not uncommon for visitors to come with their questions and their coins, seeking to unravel the mysteries of the Lantern Keeper. He rarely answered the door. But tonight, for reasons even he could not name, he descended the long, worn steps and opened it. A girl stood there, perhaps 16 years old. Her clothes were plain, travel-stained, her dark hair pulled back into a haphazard braid. She held a single lantern, old and cracked, its glass streaked with soot. "I was told you could fix this," she said, her voice steady but quiet. The keeper studied her for a long moment, before stepping aside and gesturing for her to enter. She did, clutching the lantern tightly as if afraid it might be taken from her. The base of the tower was dim, the only light spilling in through narrow slits in the stone walls. Tools and scraps of metal were scattered across the room, alongside shelves of oils and wicks. The air smelled of smoke and iron. The keeper took the lantern from her, running his fingers over its cracked surface. "This is old work," he murmured, almost to himself. "Far older than you." "It belonged to my grandmother," the girl said. "She used to tell me it was special." "Do you believe her?" The girl hesitated. "I don't know, but it's the only thing of hers I have left." He nodded once, setting the lantern on a table. He began to work, his hands moving with practiced precision. He replaced the cracked glass with panes drawn from a shelf, polished the tarnished metal until it shone, and trimmed the wick with a knife so sharp it whispered through the air. The girl watched in silence, her eyes flicking occasionally to the walls, where unlit lanterns hung in orderly rows. "Why do you keep so many?" she asked. The keeper didn't look up. "Every lantern has its story," he said, "and stories should be tended, or they fade." She frowned, glancing at the lantern in his hands. "Do you know the stories of all of them?" "No." He paused, considering. "But I know enough." When he finished, the lantern looked new, its glass gleaming, its brass polished to a warm glow. He handed it back to her, and she cradled it as if it were something fragile and alive. "Thank you," she said, her voice softer now. "You'll need to light it," he told her. "Lanterns are meant to burn. A flame is the heart of it." She hesitated, then reached into her satchel and pulled out a small flint and steel. She struck them together, and the lantern's wick caught the spark. The flame was golden, steady, but as it grew it began to shift, first to blue, then to green, then to a deep, pulsing crimson. The girl gasped, her eyes wide, and the keeper's gaze sharpened. "Your grandmother didn't tell you what this was, did she?" "No," she whispered, clutching the handle tightly. He stepped back, his expression unreadable. "That's no ordinary light. You've woken something." The flame flickered, its color shifting faster now, casting strange shadows across the walls. The girl looked at him, fear creeping into her voice. "What does it mean?" "It means," he said slowly, "that the story of this lantern is not finished." The tower trembled faintly, as if the stone itself was reacting to the flame. The keeper moved to a shelf, pulling down an unlit lantern, its frame blackened and its glass veined with silver cracks. He lit it from the girl's flame, and the light steadied, as though calmed by the presence of its twin. The keeper's voice was quiet when he spoke again. "This lantern belonged to your grandmother once as well. She brought it to me when she was not much older than you are now." The girl stared at the second lantern, its flame mirroring hers in color and rhythm. "Why did she leave it here?" "She didn't," he said. "She left half." The girl's grip on her lantern tightened. "Why?" "Some stories take more than one generation to tell." He stepped back, gesturing toward the stairs. "The choice is yours. Leave it here, and I will tend it." or take it with you and see what the light reveals." The girl hesitated, her gaze shifting between the two lanterns. Then, slowly, she straightened, lifting the handle of her lantern. "I'll take it," she said. The keeper nodded, a faint smile playing at the corner of his mouth. "Be careful, child. Light is a gift, but it's also a guide. It will show you the way, but it cannot choose for you." She didn't answer, stepping back into the night, the strange light of her lantern casting long shadows on the cobblestones. When she was gone, the keeper turned back to the unlit lanterns that lined the walls. He climbed the stairs to light each one, but his thoughts lingered on the girl and the path her flame would illuminate. Some stories, he thought, were meant to burn brighter than others.